This W&D and Manufacturing webinar consists of the following topics: supply allocation, Infantry Suite Analytics Workbook, advanced order management features, which are now free of charge and they used to be paid for, and I'll show you those, and some notes on new features in the WMS application. Supply allocation. Now, what does that do? It's currently, so in the current version of NetSuite, impossible to allocate both current and future supply to your demand orders, to sales orders, let's say. In the new version, some new features have come along, which allow you to use multiple allocation strategies, which you can assign to order lines. And what it doesn't only commit on-hand inventory, but you can also allocate future inventory coming out of a purchase order or a transfer order. This allows you to easily identify your demand which doesn't have enough either current stock or future supply. One side note, this feature requires the advanced inventory management and multi-location inventory features to be active in your account. Now let me switch to my NetSuite account to show you how this feature works in practice. There's some settings under order management, supply allocation. There's some demand and supply preferences. Now in the demand preferences, you basically tell the system how you want to sort your demand orders. The most obvious one is the supply required by dates, which you will see in the demand orders, which I will show you shortly. But you can add some additional sorting there. The other one is a checkbox which says perform supply allocation after transaction entry, update or delete. And you probably recognize that one for commitments, which used to be sitting in the accounting preferences. And has now moved to your supply allocation setup preferences. Now in your supply preferences, you see that I can link an allocation strategy to my demand orders. Both for a sales order, for a work order, and for a transfer order. Now, these predefined available allocation strategy come with the actual feature, so you don't have to set those up yourself. And they replace the settings that you used to have without this feature in your accounting preferences. Now, I'll show you where these allocation strategies are. Under Setup, Order Management, Order Allocation Strategies. This is where you can add allocation strategies or update existing ones. Now, as mentioned, these two are the predefined available allocation strategies, and as said, they replace your commitment settings that you used to have in your accounting preferences. Now, if I view the predefined one, you can see that future inventory is obviously not checked because that wasn't available in the past. This one says I want to allocate, in this case commit basically, because it only looks at current inventory. It only commits available quantity, and the other predefined strategy uses complete quantity. So these are the two differences between these. These are the differences between these strategies, which you would normally have in your accounting preferences. Now go back to my list. I've created a new allocation strategy. And as you can see, I've checked future inventory. So any demand orders, let's say sales orders, that have this particular allocation strategy, they do not only commit current inventory, but they also allocate future inventory coming out of either a purchase order or a transfer order. Now, to actually show you what happens, I enter a sales order. On a customer. For this item. Now, as you can see, I've got 50 available. On my on-hand quantity is 50, and I've got 50 available. So nothing was committed yet. Now I'm going to use a quantity of 75. I obviously get a warning that I only have 50 available. I'm linking my Dutch location. Now, as you can see, it has picked up the allocation strategy, including future stock, which we just looked at. And I'm changing my supply required by date to, let's say, the 21st of October. I add the line, save my sales order. Now, after saving this one, you can see that two things happened. It has committed the quantity of 50, which I had on hand, and it has allocated supply. Now, if I look at the allocated supply, I can actually click it. And you can see that 50 has come out of current inventory, so committed stock, and 25 was allocated against a PO that's outstanding. Now, what you immediately see, the supply receipt date is the 25th of October. Now, the supply required by date that I use is the 21st of October. So I won't have my inventory in time to be able to fulfill this sales order, which is already clear by this allocation alert. So you immediately get an alert if you enter a sales order for which you don't have enough current and or future supply. Now I can add another sales order. That's customer. The same item. Now I've got 0 available because the 50 is already committed. Add my location. And I'm going to leave this one at the date of today, 17th. Save that one. Now I obviously get a warning again. Because I want to fulfill this one today, and my PO only comes in comes in too late, so I get an alert again on this particular sales order. Now, obviously, it's great that you get an alert when you're entering the sales orders, but obviously, if orders come in via e-commerce, for example, you don't look at individual sales orders, but you still want to know if you have any orders outstanding which you will not be able to fulfill because your future supply is not coming in time. Now, to solve that, there's a new report. So under transactions, inventory, allocate orders, we have an order allocation alerts page. And this lists all the sales orders and the customers which you can not fulfill potentially because your future supply orders will not be in time. Now let me change the purchase order. Just to finish off. Sorry, I'm going to cancel it. I'm going to show you first that you can see the allocated demand. Now, this purchase order says allocated demand 26. And when you look at it, it says I've allocated 1. That's the sales order that we just looked at. And the supply required by date is the 17th. And it has allocated 25 from the sales order, which has a total of 75, but we still had 50 on hand available. And it lists the number of days late, which we also saw in the report we just looked at. Now, if I change my PO, changing the expected receipt date to today. So I've been able to persuade my supplier that he brings it in today. Save my purchase order. Now, of course, the allocated demand remains the same, but I don't have days late anymore. And obviously my report doesn't show any remaining alerts. So this is how this supply allocation works. Just a remark, you could you can in the current version use allocation schedules or commitment schedules, better to put it better. That remains as is, but the schedule now also runs your future supply allocation. So it works for both commitments and future supply allocations. So you can still use these schedules, but they work slightly differently because you can use it for both for both features basically. And you can obviously still allow, or you can still use these schedules to, for example, have certain customers or a group of customers, let's say e-commerce customers, allocate your current inventory, and let other groups of customers only allocate future inventory and use the specific periods for those. Okay, second topic of this webinar, Suite Analytics Infantry Workbook. What does that resolve? In the current version, we don't have standard workbooks for inventory metrics. And with the 2019.2, 3 new workbooks are introduced. An in and outbound inventory workbook and an inventory workbook for counts, inventory counts. Obviously, these workbooks allow you to generate pivot tables and charts, and you can customize these standard workbooks to your own needs. Now let me switch to my NetSuite account again. I open up my Suite Analytics page. I go to standard workbooks because that's where these inventory workbooks are sitting. As you can see at the bottom, I've got 3 new standard workbooks for inventory. One for counts and adjustments, one for inbound and one for outbound inventory. Now I'll quickly show you the one with inbound inventory. Now, if you're familiar with Suite Analytics already, then you obviously recognize the way this workbook is set up. On the far left-hand side, you have your data set with your criteria here. Any transactions which result in inbound inventory. No shipping cost items, no main lines, no text lines. So you only have your actual item lines in your data set. This is the data set itself with all the lines. And predefined, we see 3 different pivot tables for the different types of inventory transactions. Purchase orders to receive, which need to come in. And that's loaded. So this shows all of my purchase orders that still need to come in. We have transfer orders to receive. Again, also inbound inventory. And the last pivot is for the last transaction type that results in inbound inventory, and those are customer returns. Same story. Load your pivot and you're good to go. Now if I go back to my Suite Analytics one, I'll quickly show the outbound as well. And obviously, that will not come as a surprise. You see your outbound transactions. Again, you have your data set and your sales orders to fulfill for your outbound inventory. Not my pivot. I have my sales orders. And obviously, you can adjust this workbook or edit this workbook and add your transfer orders that need to go out, stuff like that. I go back to my presentation. Next topic, advanced order management features. We have some features, we won't always had some features on advanced order management, which you could obviously activate, but they need to be paid separately. What are these features? Automatic location assignment, fulfillment requests, and store pickup. And these are now free in all NetSuite accounts. The only exception is CRM and CRM Plus accounts. Now, I'm not going to show you all the features in detail for time restraints, but I'm going to pick out automatic location assignment just to show you how that one works. I'll switch to my NetSuite account. I'll quickly show you where the features are in NetSuite. I'm under transactions, shipping and receiving. Now, as you can see, we have automatic location assignment activated, so we can use that in this account. And again, it's they're free of charge now. Now, what does it do? If I go to order management and I go to advanced order management, you see that I have a tab here called automation. Now, if I tick run automation, I can run a process in the background which does either automatic location assignment or fulfillment request creation, or both. Now, I'm doing both, so it will both, if need be, assign a location automatically and create a fulfillment request. Now, when do we run this process in the background? Once a sales order is approved, when a payment hold is released, and when a sales order is changed. So we're only looking at sales orders and payments. So I'm not going to look at fulfillment requests in this case, but I'm just going to look at this automatic location assignment. Now, once you save this one, I'll show you the other tab as well. Automatic location assignment. As you can see, for my Netherlands subsidiary, I have created the default configuration and linked that one to my subsidiary. Now, where are these configurations? Again, under setup order management, look at my configurations. This is my NL warehouse configuration. If I view that one, we can see the configuration for automatic location assignment, and there's some rules involved which allow you to very precisely determine which locations need to be allocated to which order lines. Now, if I look at those rules, rule NL for example, you can see it does it for all line items. You can use safe searches to filter out specific lines. My location type needs to be warehouse. And in this case, I'm saying I want the location to be allocated to my sales order based on the closest location. So what it does, it looks at the postcode of the shipping address of the sales order, and it obviously looks at the address of the location. So it will pick out the nearest location and allocate the location automatically. I'll show you how that works. I enter the sales order. In my Dutch subsidiary. With an item. Now, I'm obviously not going to fill out the location because I want the system to allocate it automatically based on the shipping address of this particular order. Now, once I save this, the automatic location assignment automation kicks in the background. reload my order. And as you can see, this automation is now run in the background, and my NL warehouse location, which is the nearest one, was automatically assigned to this order line. Back to my presentation. So we covered the advanced order management features. If you're interested in the other ones, fulfillment requests and store pickup, have a look at the Suite Answers, because there's quite a bit of documentation about those features. And again, free of charge, so you can use them where needed. The last topic, WMS enhancements. It's a bit difficult to show that in practice, because obviously you need to use a scanner. So I'm just going to show you some highlights, or let you know what new features came in. So WMS enhancements, what do these resolve? Quite a few missing features, which will really come in handy. In the old version with multiple order picking, you needed a printed list on paper, which didn't really make sense if you want to use a scanner for all your transactions. And the screens on the scanner were not configurable. Now, with the new features, additional functionality has come in. We can use wave picking, which is a very handy tool allowing you to release orders to the warehouse based on your own rules and criteria. So, for example, early in the morning, you only want to release orders which have fully committed inventory to make sure that your order pickers don't run around having to collect additional products at a later stage. And let's say at the end of the day, you want to release some orders which are not fully committed but with a certain value. You can all do that with wave picking. The user interface was approved, so it's a bit more intuitive. It's faster as well, which is good. And again, as mentioned before, you can now multi-order pick and paperless, so without the need of a paper list, a list on paper. Just a quick preview of the improved user interface. If you're familiar with WMS, you'll see that it's changed quite dramatically. Not only the look and feel, but again, it's a bit faster and it's more intuitive as well. Now that's all I wanted to show you for now. So thank you very much for your attention.